today on my walk, I'm spilling the beans. How I have been successful thus far in my weight loss journey and the things I've learned that have really, I feel, been elemental in being able to lose.
I'm using pictures of Christopher and Charlie when they were little to help introduce all the beans I'm gonna be spilling. Just loved your cute little faces.
The first thing I knew I had to do was get rid of the processed sugars. With my binge eating disorder, the things that I really gravitated toward when I wanted to binge was highly processed foods. Cakes, cookies, donuts, even chips, pizza. Everything processed, sweet, ultra high in fat and in carbs, that was my go-to. Because physiologically, it gives you an instant high. I feel like that's really been a life changer for me, not having those things in my house. Now, with that being said, I do believe there's not such things as good food and bad food, okay? I do one day want to have the ability to eat anything I want, just making sure that I eat them in moderation and in a healthy way. In order to put in healthy habits into your life, you have to change your mindset and how you think about things. I have ADHD, and at all times of the day, normally I have about 100 different tabs open in my brain. I'm thinking about, what am I making for lunch and dinner? What am I going to be doing at work? What are the things I could do every day to make my life healthier, happier, and more joyous? I have a hard time shutting my brain off. So one of the things I've been focusing on the last couple of weeks has been learning how to be quiet. Those of you who know me personally know I have a very hard time being quiet. But you'll notice I don't have my AirPods in today. I was in a super funk today. I honestly still don't know why or what started it. But the important thing was that I knew I had to get out of it, or it was gonna get worse and worse and worse. So as I came here on my walk and started being out in nature, I just stopped to be quiet. I started focusing on the birds that are in the water. I started focusing on the trees that we're going to talk about in a minute because they're very special to me. And I just breathed. Sometimes that's the absolute best way for me to quiet my mind, is to take deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Really focusing on just that one thing. Just being quiet and listening to the breath in and exhale out. Learning to quiet my mind has been so important because I find that in the times that I have triggers and want to binge, it's that mind going 100,000 miles an hour that I'm trying to calm. I'm trying to soothe. Movement has also been key in getting this whole healthy process started. When you're used to going inward, hiding, isolating for your comfort, you honestly start thinking that's the only safe place to be. That's the only place you can be you, be comfortable, and out of harm's way. I've never felt more powerful, more in control, and more safe than when I'm moving. And when I'm talking about movement, I'm not talking about you signing up for CrossFit. I mean, you can, if that's your jam. But what I'm saying is, I went from being sedentary, sitting around, laying in my bed, to just getting up and walking. That's it. Just get up and move. Movement is something that everyone can do, whether you're just moving your hands, your feet, your arms, your upper body, your lower body, your whole body, doing the head nod. Anybody can move. And our body is so grateful when we do. I know you won't probably believe this, or maybe you will. But I started literally with less than 5 minutes of walking. My heart rate would get up so high that I was scared I was gonna stroke out. It was over 200. So literally all I could do was walk casually for about 2 to 5 minutes in front of my TV in my living room. I joke with my friends that exercising has brought out the toddler in me, because before I go to work out or exercise, I feel like a toddler stomping my feet. I don't want to. You can't make me. But when I get out there and make myself do it, once I'm done, I feel phenomenal. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, all of it. My heart is thankful, my body is thankful, and my mind feels renewed. Being brave has been quite the theme for me this new year. I finally accepted that I needed help. That is not easy for most of us to do. We like to be proud of ourselves and believe that we don't need help. Or we've been hurt so many times from people who have said they were going to help us that we don't trust anyone. But I've tried on my own for over 40 years, and that has not worked. So I reached out to my doctor. I did my physical, got some lab work done, found out what my baseline is, the new diagnoses that I have acquired, and how I can reverse those, thankfully, with becoming healthier. I reached out to a therapist in our area who knows how to deal with eating disorders. I've learned a tremendous amount from her. Such a blessing. She's been able to show me things in my own life that I am not able to see on my own from the inside, but she could see from the outside. I also reached out for support from a community who could understand my struggles. If you're dealing with binge eating disorder, please go check out the Binge Eating Therapist. I'm gonna link her site down below. She's a former binge eater turned psychotherapist. She's truly phenomenal. And even though she lives in the UK, she offers for people everywhere to be part of her support groups that she does every month. And being able to talk to and discuss things with other men and women who deal with the same struggles that I do has been so eye-opening, because I know I'm not alone. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is what I've learned from these trees. Two years ago, we lost our home in Laura and Delta, the hurricanes that hit us back to back in 2020. Coming home the day after Laura felt like we were honestly driving through a war zone. Poles were down everywhere, homes were torn apart. It's hard to imagine in that moment how you can rebuild, how you can come back from something like that. What I want you to notice in these videos that I show you of the trees is not the big trees that have been damaged, and not how many of this has been cleared out because they were completely ripped out of the ground. I want you to focus on the little heads of the trees that you can see over the top of the fence that have grown up in those 2 years. Even in the face of natural disaster and the trees around them showing them all the reasons why they won't survive, these little trees were brave enough to start growing. And that's what I honestly believe you and I have to do. In every situation, in every tragedy, in every circumstance where our world is ripped apart and it feels like there's no way to come back from it, there is, and you can. I believe in you. I know. You're gonna say, I don't know you, we've never met personally, I don't know your story, and you're right, I don't. But I know the truth of nature. Even in the darkest of times, even in the worst of tragedies, the flowers coming in, the grass grows again, trees begin to sprout and grow again, and so can you. There are countless stories of triumph out of tragedy. I want you to be that phoenix. I want you to think of yourself and remind yourself that you're just as powerful as that beast rising from the ashes and becoming everything you can be. I know that we can do that. It doesn't matter how many times we fall, how many times we're pushed down. We're getting back up, okay? Be that Phoenix I know you can be, and we're gonna do it together. And there will be days like this morning when I was in a total funk where there's no way I could imagine myself getting up and rising up today. But I did, one step at a time, and I know you can too. You got this. I know we can do this together. I love you guys. I don't know you personally, perhaps, but I do love you anyway, and I wish the very, very best for you. Thank you guys again for following me on this journey. Your love and support means more than you could ever imagine. Love you guys. I was able to hit all my fasting goals, staying at 16 hours fasting and 8 hours of my eating window. That seems to be working really well. Trying to stay with nutrient-dense foods as much as I can. So the walking challenge this week went really well. I'm sure, as you know, the whole country had weather problems last week, and so the majority of my walking was inside. I was so grateful yesterday the sun came out and we had a wonderful weekend and we're able to be out in nature. My weigh-in this morning went pretty well. I was able to lose 0.4 pounds this week, which gives me a total of 44.5 pounds for the 13 weeks thus far. I was also able to lose another inch, which makes a total of 38 inches lost in the past 13 weeks.